All right, moving on. We're gonna do the tier list thing, but then we kind of realized it was kind of pointless. So I'm just gonna break down a scenario for you, and you're gonna tell me who you think's gonna make the playoffs, and then after that, you're gonna tell me who you got winning it. Before the little prequel before the sequel. You feel what I'm saying? We got Kenny as the first seed. We got myself as a second seed for now. We got Carry Me Christian as the third seed. Fourth seed, Joe. Fifth seed, Eric. Sixth seed, Quan. Seventh seed, the best eighth seed ever. And the eighth seed, we got Bully Gang. But in the playoff hunt, there is a three-way tie in the playoff hunt. And let me preface this by saying all the way from seventh place through 11th place, 7-Eleven,
It's
sponsor.
always open.
Yeah, it's open. Any team could win and get in, and that's it. So we got, outside looking in, we got Duke Nukem Danny at the ninth. We got Big Baller Brand Shiv at 10, and then we got Eddie, King Fast Eddie at number 11. But there's a lot of games where, if Danny loses the Keyway, that's one. Shiv loses to Sabrina, that's two. And who else we got? You got Bully Gang. That's Will. If Will loses, that's three. That's three teams that could possibly lose. And I don't know if you beat Quan or not, but even if he loses, oh wait, yeah, even if he loses, there's a shot at the sixth seed. So there's a lot of things. I'm not gonna sit here and calculate it. I don't know how that works, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
sorry, Carlo.
yeah. So who is your pick, like the finalized playoff bracket?
All right. So I actually, to be consistent, I picked Gamblers Anonymous to win that game. So he will finish with the first seed. Congrats, Joe, in my opinion. I don't know. You're gonna have a lot to face, but you're gonna be the first seed. I'm gonna have Tampa Mahone Burglar second. So those two things I feel are not gonna change. Yeah, I think he's gonna beat Bang Van and third seed. I got Carry Me Christian.
Mm-hmm.
She will get that third seed, win our division with a healthy 500 record. Oh no, actually no, 6-5, one game over 500. We do this in our division,
Yeah, yes.
and
Yeah.
then fourth seed we'll have Kenny. So it'll be a potential matchup of Kenny and Joe in the second round.
Yeah.
And then from here, at anything goes. Literally anything goes. I got fifth seed, Bang Van. So it'll be Eric and Joe.
Yeah. It's
I
pretty
got
fire.
six seed. Six seed. I think I got massage therapy.
Okay.
So it'll be Quan and Sabrina. Seventh seed. I actually don't have Carlo. I think I'm gonna take myself.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think it doesn't make sense because you saw who I picked. I did that for content purposes and for karma purposes, but I do think I have one of the more favorable matchups coming into the last week, and that'll 5 and 6. I mean, who knows? I'll either be seventh or eighth, but I think eighth seed will be Carlo. So
I got him.
regardless, I want Carlo to have the eighth seed since he's the best eighth seed ever. So that's why I gave myself the seventh seed,
Mm.
and I think I got Danny losing, so
Yeah.
he's gonna probably be tied with Keyway, both 4-7 from what I'm looking at. I got Shiv losing; he'll also be 4-7 in my opinion. And I got Will losing and getting knocked right out of that little playoff hunt and also being 4-7. So we're gonna have 4-7 teams
Okay.
potentially.
All right.
The way the last place thing worked, actually, do you want me to tell you who I think is gonna get last place, or do you want to wait for that? You
Uh,
want your list first?
you know what? I'm gonna say my list first, and then I want you to
Yeah,
say
yeah,
who's
yeah.
gonna be last place, and then who's gonna win. But the first seed, I got Kyo. I got Joe. I got Joe as the first seed. Second seed, I'm gonna go with Eric. And this is not for karma. I just personally think, like, just matchups wise, and like I've just kind of monitored his team. You know, you got Derrick Henry against the Jags. I mean, you kind of know how that goes. You know, whether he's old or not, or washed or not, I think he's still gonna get like 100 yards. And I hope I'm wrong, but that's just I'm just telegraphing this. So I'm gonna say Eric is gonna be the second seed, or it might be the third seed. No, but I think he actually beat Sabrina. So if Sabrina lost,
Oh
honestly, it's
wait, they
just
could both be 6 and 5.
yeah, but
Oh,
that
I didn't even know that. I didn't even realize
shit
that.
hurts my brain to be honest to think about it. But I'm pretty sure that Eric beat her, so I'm gonna say Eric is the second seed. Third seed is gonna be Sabrina. Fourth seed will be myself against Kenny in our rematch of week 10. You know, I beat him by 3. Honestly, I should have beat him by like 20, but you know how fantasy likes to be. Josh Allen magically starts scoring touchdowns in the last 5 minutes of the game. I was a little shook, I'm not gonna lie. But
Throwing interceptions before that.
yeah, so I'm gonna say it's gonna be me versus Kenny. First round. Six seed. This is where things get interesting. I think that see, I feel like if I count Quan out, it's you know what? I think Quan is gonna lose just so you could get in. So I think you're gonna beat Quan, right? Quan is gonna be the sixth seed still. I think that's how that would work.
Yeah, probably
Carlo's gonna lose, and Will is gonna win. So Will is gonna be the seventh
7.
seed, and you're gonna be the eighth seed.
Okay.
I think that's how that's gonna play out. I have to
Yeah.
ask you, who do you think is gonna get the punishment, and who do you think is gonna win the whole thing?
I'll start with who's going to win the championship because I think the punishment is the more exciting piece to this. I think the two teams I have going into the championship, and once again, I mean, it just depends on matchups, to be honest, because I think any of the teams, and I literally genuinely think any of the teams that make the playoffs can make a run for the finals. I don't see any team that's unbeatable.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, Kenny. Sorry, Joe. Y'all are not unbeatable. There are scary factors to every team. I mean, Sabrina has Christian McCaffrey. Joe also now has CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill, which I was a W trade. I was wrong about that. I did not
no,
think CeeDee Lamb.
yeah,
Dak
see,
Prescott is literally, I don't know what CeeDee Lamb did with Dak Prescott pause, but
yeah,
he's forever indebted to him.
yeah, he number one
And
wide receiver, 1 and 2.
bro, it's insane. And now Kenny, Kenny's team is just solid. I think of the three, he doesn't have those types of players,
Mm-hmm.
but like because Joe Burrow's love affair with Jamar Chase isn't the same. So, you know, I'd say Joe is definitely one of my favorites for the championship. The other, I gotta pick one who I think is in the running for the second person is I think you're in the running. I think Eric's in the running.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sabrina's in the running. I think Kenny's in the running.
Like Kenny can if Joe makes it.
But yeah, Joe's gonna beat Kenny if they play. Yeah, exactly. So since it can't be Kenny, it's now between three people.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most dominant player in the NFL when he wants to be is Patrick Mahomes. But also Christian McCaffrey's been kicking. It's a coin toss. Let me flip a coin. Heads or tails?
Tails never fails,
Yeah,
baby.
I got
Let's
Tyler. I got
go.
Tyler as the second team who can make a championship run. It's going to be very hard to beat Joe, but I do think those are going to be the two teams. It was literally a flip of a coin. No funny business. It was either him or Sabrina, but I got Tyler.
Hey man, appreciate the love, man. You know, since you're picking your favorite to win, I'll do mine as well, and then we could do the losers. I think now that I have to calculate this, I don't want to give a two-part answer because I feel like that's unfair, but I'm gonna give one anyway. So hear me out. You know, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx myself. If I beat Eric and Eric faces Joe in the first round, I think it's gonna be one of two things. It's either Eric is gonna have like a miracle random week and win solely off of that, or Joe is just gonna clap him because his team is just better, right? So logically, I'm gonna say Joe. Sorry, Eric. I'm gonna say Joe is gonna beat Eric, and then Joe is gonna beat Kenny. And Kenny seems solid. Kenny's he's up there. It's not that we're dissing him. It's just if you literally have to pick one or the other, I gotta go with Joe. So I'm gonna go with Joe. Down the bottom side, it's gonna be potentially Mahomes versus McCaffrey. I should preface this by saying McCaffrey against Mahomes and Kelsey. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully she makes an appearance at the game. I think she's back on tour, so I don't know how this is gonna work out, but I'm gonna have to go with myself. And
BDE, BDE.
yeah, B to E. And I think it's gonna be me and Joe in a rematch for the finals. We faced each other in fantasy basketball. You know what I had to do to him, pause. And we're gonna get a rematch. And this time, is he gonna get his get back? I think so. Tyreek Hill is just him. I just think he's that guy. So I think whoever Joe faces, he's gonna win, but it's gonna be a toss up between, Sabrina and myself. And if she makes it over me, I think it would set up a great fantasy player combat battle
Oh
between,
yeah, battle of the MVPs.
yeah, literally I was gonna say Mahomes, freaking Tyreek Hill against McCaffrey. That would be a fire matchup, I'm not gonna lie. But I also don't want to see Trevor Lawrence in that shit. So get that shit out of here. We got Tampa Mahomes burglars against Gamblers Anonymous. Let's get it.
Surprise question I got for you.
Yes,
And this is not planned. He didn't see this coming.
I didn't.
Who do you got as your sleeper X factor to make a run out of all the teams?
Sleeper. Ooh.
So bottom four seeds,
Bottom four. Oh,
fourth,
okay, okay,
fifth,
bet.
5 through 8.
All right. So if I had to pick one of those teams to win, oh, you said five? Oh,
Five through eight. Who do
I'm
you one of those teams?
I'm picking Eric, and I'm gonna pick. Logic is kicking my ass. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be your Eric because if we're just assuming Shiv's not winning, so let's just assume that if Shiv wins, I don't know. I might have to change my pick, but I think it's gonna be Eric because I think Eric's team is solid. And I was looking at his like schedule of like how he's his points. Just curious to see if I'm gonna get cooked or not. And he's lost a couple where he scored pretty high. So I'm like, I think his team, like his record, doesn't reflect his team. So
Yeah,
I think Eric is gonna be that dark horse to win. I feel like, and then under him, I would pick you because Joe Burrow looks to be coming back. So we'll see.
I try to tell him. I try to tell him.
I mean,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
they don't want to
Because I
see
would
you.
agree.
I want to see you win.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Eric's team, I mean, having faced him and having, beaten him in a crazy 145 to 140 matchup or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah. I was
he
looking at that.
he he puts up points. And I think, my team since I've gotten healthy, we just been putting up 120 consistently. So like I said, they didn't want to. I said this a long time ago. They didn't want to see me in the playoffs. You never really want to see me in the playoffs when it comes to football in general, because I put in a good matchup. Even last year when I didn't have the team, I give you a good run. But I think this year, I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I think I have the team that can win a championship. I would say logically, I got Eric as the X factor. But moving on to the punishments, real quick.
Last but not least,
Yeah, man. So the moment everybody's been waiting for, no further ado, I got Danny coming in last place. And I had Kiwi the entire year ever since he went on that crazy losing streak from the beginning of the season. But what happened was I think Danny got screwed with the matchups.
I think
I
so too.
think Danny having to play Kiwi when Kiwi's projected 117. I get it, projections aren't nothing, don't mean anything, but the rest of us in the league are projected like 106, 107, 105.
Yo,
And I'm looking to that one person that's projected 117.
he's a dead
I mean,
pass, bro.
yes, his team isn't bad. He should
No,
not be in last place. And I think because he's playing Danny and because he can play spoiler, he's going to go all out. and he's probably gonna win because Danny's team is probably not gonna be able to outscore. Kiwi's been scoring a lot. Like he's
Mhm,
gotten his 4 wins in like the last 6 weeks, or his
mhm.
3 wins or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just think, I mean, I don't foresee myself losing. I don't foresee Carlo losing. And I believe Will, I'm not sure what the matchup is with Will, but I think Will beat no, Kiwi beat Will. So it's
Mhm.
literally gonna be in, yeah, so then it would depend on if Danny beat Will.
Ooh.
If Will comes from like sixth place to last place, that would be to my surprise.
That would be nuts.
But I just don't think I think the matchups head to head, yeah, I don't think it Bennett, because I think Danny needed Carlo to lose, and I don't think Carlo's gonna lose to
Yeah.
Will. So,
Yeah.
and if Danny loses to Kiwi on head to head, then Kiwi would be ahead of Danny. So
Yeah, I don't
sorry, Danny. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. I thought it was gonna be Will, and Will. It still could be Will from the beginning of the season. I thought it was gonna be Will, but I don't. Yeah, man. Sorry, Danny. That's what I could say, bro. It's my honest opinion.
yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I think it's gonna be Danny as well. Screw the projections, but when you see a discrepancy like that, like when it's like, oh, they're gonna win by 5, it's like, all right, whatever, man,
Yeah,
that's cap. But it's like, yo, when they when you're like really projected to be
an
someone, it's
an
kind of
18-point
accurate.
favorite is
Yeah,
crazy in
so
fantasy.
hey, man, I ain't saying I listen to ESPN, but I think Kiwi is gonna play spoiler just because I have that spoiler feeling. Like that's just the type of guy Kiwi is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
he
think
said, yeah,
he's gonna ruin the fun. So I think, and he
mhm.
doesn't want to do the challenge. So I think Danny is, and also Danny kind of jinxed himself. Not to leak our conversation. Like a IG model thought or something. Posting a DM, but we're having a discussion. He was like, "Yo, honestly, man, like F fantasy, you know, I hope I come in last place to do the challenge because like, at least I could win at something." I forgot the context of our conversation. And then I read that I was like, yo, he low key was putting that karma in the universe. And then I looked at the matchup.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, he's playing Kiwi too. I'm like, I think it's gonna happen, bro. I think you spoke it into existence.
Yeah, bro. And the crazy thing is, like, the fantasy, whoever, I mean, you created the schedules perfectly, bro. Because it's like you got 2 games for the division. You Shiv and Sabrina, you
Mhm.
versus Eric. 3 games actually. Joe versus Kenny. 3 games for the division that all panned out, and the game for the punishment. Bro, 4 of the games are relevant. And I
Mhm.
would say like my game in Quan is pretty relevant too, just
It
for
is.
seeding purposes, and Will and Carlo for the bro, you snapped with that. So I gotta give you your props.
I appreciate that, man. I didn't even think I was gonna get love for that, man. You're the only one that, yeah, I do be making the schedules, and honestly, I did not think any of this would happen the way it did, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad I do that because it's always the same schedule every year, and then because I've it's if you check whatever it was initially, that's been like what the schedule was supposed to be for like the last like 6 or 7 seasons. I'm like, yo, that's OD. Like I literally it's
Yeah,
always like, oh, you're facing Danny week 1. I'm like, bro, again? And I feel like doing
yeah.
it like 2 or 3 years in a row. I'm like, yeah, I'm making the schedules from now on. So shout out to Shiv for letting me do that. So we've been very successful. Hopefully we
W
keep it going.
commish.
W commish. Which division is the best division in terms of like all around excitement? And before you, I'm gonna just preface this real quick, but don't think too hard because we got like literally 40 seconds. We got the division where all 4 teams can make it. We got the division where 2 of the top teams are ironically in the division. And then we got the central division, your division, where there's like a bunch of teams that are like a game apart that could like go on top of one another to make it to the playoffs. Who's your best division? You're on the clock,
So
20 seconds.
biasly, I would want to say, Central. I would want to say my team because we're the most competitive, like the NFC East has always been. We put points on the board, but I think it can't be the West just because the discrepancy is too much. It doesn't seem competitive. So I'll say the East just because 6-4, 5-5, 4-6, like all 4 of those teams have a better record than the majority of the teams in my division and the West. So yeah.